that, what is that process?
Quite apart from that, what is
where
that
the
process?
government officer will decide
Where the
in a
government
dispute
officer
between
will
the
decide
government
in a
and the
dispute
Waqf
between the
that
government
this is
and the government property. That this is
You
government
therefore
property.
have identified
You
an officer
therefore
who is
have
part of the
identified
government,
an officer who is
who will
part
be a
of the
judge in his
government.
own
के
cause.
चीफ जस्टिस
will be a judge
संजीव
in his
खन्ना,
own cause.
जस्टिस पीवी संजय कुमार और जस्टिस केवी विश्वनाथन पर मुश्तमिल 3 रुकनी बेंच ने वक्फ तरमीमी बिल को चैलेंज करने वाली दरख्वास्तों पर समाअत शुरू कर दी है। ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड, बैरिस्टर असदुद्दीन अवैसी, सदर कुल हिंद मजलिस इत्तेहादुल मुस्लिमीन और रुकन पार्लियामेंट हैदराबाद के अलावा दीगर मुस्लिम कायदीन और तंजीमों की जानिब से वक्फ तरमीमी बिल को चैलेंज किया गया है। इस मौके पर सीनियर वकील कपिल सिब्बल ने दलाइल देते हुए कहा कि मैं इस चैलेंज की बुनियादी नोयत बयान करना चाहता हूं। पार्लियामेंट ने एक ऐसा कानून बनाया है जिसके जरिए किसी मजहब के बुनियादी और लाजमी मामलात में मदाखलत की जा रही है। उन्होंने कहा कि मैं आइन के आर्टिकल 26 का हवाला दे रहा हूं। इस कानून की कई दफात आर्टिकल 26 के खिलाफ वर्जी करती हैं। कपिल सिब्बल ने मजीद कहा कि बराए मेहरबानी मुत्तहदा वक्फ मैनेजमेंट एक्ट की दफा 3R मुलाहजा करें और वक्फ की तारीफ देखें। इसके मुताबिक वक्फ वो होता है जो कोई भी शख्स मुस्तकिल तौर पर इस्लाम पर अमल पैरा होते हुए वक्फ करे और इसे साबित करना होगा कि वो गुज़िश्ता 5 साल से इस्लाम पर अमल कर रहा है। अब अगर मैं वक्फ करना चाहूं तो मुझे साबित करना होगा कि मैं 5 साल से मुसलमान हूं। सवाल यह है कि रियासत कैसे तय करेगी कि मैं मुसलमान हूं या नहीं। इस पर चीफ जस्टिस खन्ना ने कपिल सिब्बल से सवाल किया कि हिंदू मजहब में भी कुछ ऐसा ही होता है। पार्लियामेंट ने मुसलमानों के लिए कानून बनाया है जो शायद हिंदुओं के तरीके जैसा ना हो, ताहम आर्टिकल 26 इस कानून साजी पर पाबंदी नहीं लगाता। यह आर्टिकल सबके लिए और सेकुलर नोयत रखता है जो हर मजहब पर यकसान लागू होता है। सीनियर वकील कपिल सिब्बल ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में दलाइल देते हुए कहा कि इस्लाम में विरासत का अमल मौत के बाद होता है, लेकिन हुकूमत इससे पहले ही मुदाखलत कर रही है। सकता है। कपिल सिब्बल ने नए वक्फ एक्ट के तहत कलेक्टर को दिए गए इख्तियारात पर भी सवाल उठाया। रिपीट, कपिल सिब्बल ने नए वक्फ एक्ट के तहत कलेक्टर को दिए गए इख्तियारात पर भी सवाल उठाया और अदालत को बताया कि नए कानून के तहत कलेक्टर को इख्तियार दिया गया है कि वो फैसला करे कि कोई जायदाद वक्फ है या नहीं अगर इस पर तनाजा हो, लेकिन कलेक्टर तो हुकूमत का ही एक अफसर है। ऐसे में खुद ही अपने मुकदमे का जज बन जाता है, जो कि आईनी तौर पर दुरुस्त।
Is the fifth challenge. Bar of declaration of any land in scheduled or tribal area as Waqf. Bar of declaration of any land contained in this scheduled or tribal area or any other law for the time being enforced, no land contained in this act belonging to members of law for the time being enforced, no land of the fifth schedule belonging to members of scheduled Constitution under the provisions of the fifth schedule or the sixth schedule to the Constitution shall be declared or deemed to be Waqf property. I have a chart here. Muslims are deemed to be all these. Muslims are deemed to be
a lot of laws
scheduled
across
tribes.
India. It says scheduled tribes cannot transfer property across India. It says scheduled tribes cannot transfer property.
That's all right. But see what the extent of no land belonging to the scheduled tribes. But see what the extent of no land belonging to the scheduled tribes shall be declared or deemed to be a Waqf property.
Scheduled tribes have always, as far as land laws are concerned, some of the legislation.
Bishop is right. I'm not. That's right. Bishop is right. Non-tribal. That's right. That's non-tribal.
Laws like in Maharashtra. Laws like in Maharashtra.
Correct. So therefore you can transfer it to a scheduled tribe. Not only that, therefore you can transfer it to a declared or deemed to be a Waqf. Not only that, shall be declared or deemed to be a Waqf property. Now, kindly come to the Central Waqf Council. Your Lordship may just note that under the 1995 Act, actual experience may be non-Muslims. Joint Secretary to Government of India, one member of the Bar Council, provided that Joint Secretary to Government of India, one member of the Bar Council, provided that two members of the board appointed under C under this section, excluding provided further that two of the total members of the board appointed under this section, excluding ex-officials shall be nominations. It's a complete takeover. Nominals, if your Lordship sees the 1995 Act, and I just presently if your Lordship sees the 1995 Act, and I just presently give that all Muslims.
And a
The 1995 Act
disqualified
all Muslims.
And a disqualification, section 16
was kindly see the council provision. I just point out the provision, Mullahs.
That was
council provision was section 9. Council provision. I just point out the provision, all Muslims. Council provision was section 9 of the 1995
provision
Act, all
is section
Muslims,
40
may just take it, it's
of
all
the
Muslims.
1995 Act, which
And
is
the
also
board
Muslim.
provision is section
Next point.
40
And
of the 1995 Act, which is also
disqualification provision.
Next point.
And section
from
16
amongst Muslims, then
is
there's
a
a disqualification provision also.
There will be non-Muslims that
And
disqualified.
from
That's
amongst
correct.
Muslims, then
That's
there's a
correct.
disqualification
Yes.
provision also.
There
Now,
will be
Mullah, the
non-Muslims
next
that
section,
disqualified.
Mullah,
That's correct. That's
is,
correct.
Yes.
now,
Chief
Mullah, the
Executive,
next section, Mullah, is
Chief Executive.
all officers have to be Muslims earlier, including the chief executive officer. All officers have to be Muslims earlier. Now it's including the chief executive officer. Now kindly come to registration. Now it's not a Muslim. Now kindly come to registration. On and from the commencement of the Waqf Amendment Act, Section 36. On and from the commencement of the Waqf Amendment Act, Section 36, Mullah.
Yes.
1A, Mullah. 36,
Yes.
1 capital A, on and from the commencement of the
1A
Waqf Amendment Act, 36,
No work
1
shall be created
capital A,
without
on and from
execution
the
of a
commencement of the
Waqf
Waqf Amendment Act, no work shall be created without execution of a Waqf deed. I'm not saying anything wrong, just indicating, Millets. Waqf, kindly see. I'm not saying anything wrong, just create a Waqf by user. Waqf, kindly see. You don't have to have a deed. You can create a Waqf by user. If it is my property, Millets, as your lordship knows. You don't have to have a deed. If it is my property, Millets. If it is my property, Millets, as your lordship knows. In the sense I can allow somebody. If it is my property, to say have a shelter home. I can create a Waqf. I don't have to register. In the sense I can allow somebody. It's my property. Have a shelter home there. Forget about. I don't have to register faith or not. Supposing my own property, but I want some. I have to about whether I have the Muslim faith or not. Supposing my own property, I want some. I have to register.
Also, because in that. You can register the work also because it will help you also have to maintain a register of work.
Now, that's another matter. But Waqf by user is abolished.
That not be beneficial. But the question of work by user, you have an issue.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया के सामने दर्ज की गई है, जिसमें तकरीबन हर बड़ी अपोजिशन पार्टी ने नए कानून के खिलाफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट का रुख किया है, लेकिन हुकूमत को यकीन है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट इस नए कानून को ख़त्म नहीं करेगी। सदर कुल हिंद मजलिस इत्तेहादुल मुस्लिमीन व रुकन पार्लियामेंट हैदराबाद बैरिस्टर असदुद्दीन अवैसी वो पहले शख्स थे जिन्होंने कानून के खिलाफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अर्जी दायर की।
तो मैं गांधी की तरह इस कानून को फाड़ता हूं। ये अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है सर। इस देश में झगड़े पैदा करने का काम बीजेपी करना चाहती।
ओखला से आम आदमी पार्टी के एमएलए अमानतुल्लाह खान ने भी दरख्वास्त दायर की है। दीगर दरख्वास्त गुजारों में शहरी हुकूक के तहफ़्फ़ुज़ के लिए एसोसिएशंस, जमीयत उलमा हिंद के अरशद मदनी, कांग्रेस पार्टी के इमरान मसूद के अलावा विष्णु शंकर जैन ने भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट का रुख किया। मरकजी अक़लियती उमूर के वज़ीर किरण रिजिजू ने कहा है कि इन्हें यकीन है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट नए वक़्फ़ कानून जैसे कानून साजी के मामले पर कोई तबसरा नहीं करेगी। इन्होंने ये भी कहा कि मुक़न्नना और अदलिया को एक दूसरे का एहतराम करने की ज़रूरत है। 2 दिन पहले हरियाणा में खिताब करते हुए वज़ीर आज़म नरेंद्र मोदी ने भी नए कानून का तबसरा किया और नए कानून का मजबूत दिफा करते हुए कहा कि वह कानून हकीकी समाजी इंसाफ है।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट के चीफ जस्टिस संजीव खन्ना, जस्टिस पीवी संजय कुमार और जस्टिस केवी विश्वनाथन पर मुश्तमिल 3 रुकनी बेंच ने वक्फ तरमीमी बिल को चैलेंज करने वाली दरख्वास्तों पर समाअत शुरू कर दी है। ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड, बैरिस्टर असदुद्दीन अवैसी, सदर कुल हिंद मजलिस इत्तेहादुल मुस्लिमीन, रुकन पार्लियामेंट हैदराबाद के अलावा दीगर मुस्लिम कायदीन और तंजीमों की जानिब से वक्फ तरमीमी बिल को चैलेंज किया गया है। इस मौके पर सीनियर वकील कपिल सिब्बल ने दलाइल देते हुए कहा कि मैं इस चैलेंज की बुनियादी नोयत बयान करना चाहता हूं। पार्लियामेंट ने एक ऐसा कानून बनाया है जिसके जरिए किसी मजहब के बुनियादी और लाजमी मामलात में मदाखलत की जा रही है। उन्होंने कहा कि मैं आइन के आर्टिकल 26 का हवाला दे रहा हूं। इस कानून की कई दफात आर्टिकल 26 के खिलाफ वर्जी करती हैं। कपिल सिब्बल ने मजीद कहा कि बराए मेहरबानी मुत्तहदा वक्फ मैनेजमेंट एक्ट की दफा 3R मुलाहजा करें और वक्फ की तारीफ देखें। इसके मुताबिक वक्फ वो होता है जो कोई भी शख्स मुस्तकिल तौर पर इस्लाम पर अमल पैरा होते हुए वक्फ करे और इसे साबित करना होगा कि वो गुज़िश्ता 5 साल से इस्लाम पर अमल कर रहा है। अब अगर मैं वक्फ करना चाहूँ तो मुझे साबित करना होगा कि मैं 5 साल से मुसलमान हूँ। सवाल यह है कि रियासत कैसे तय करेगी कि मैं मुसलमान हूँ या नहीं। इस पर चीफ जस्टिस खन्ना ने कपिल सिब्बल से सवाल किया कि हिंदू मजहब में भी कुछ ऐसा ही होता है। पार्लियामेंट ने मुसलमानों के लिए कानून बनाया है जो शायद हिंदुओं के तरीके जैसा ना हो, ताहम आर्टिकल 26 इस कानून साजी पर पाबंदी नहीं लगाता। यह आर्टिकल सबके लिए और सेकुलर नोयत रखता है जो हर मजहब पर यकसान लागू होता है। सीनियर वकील कपिल सिब्बल ने
Order at the fourth page, Lord.
Decided in 2023.
22nd March 23 order, where 120 petitions are pending.
You have withdrawn
No,
that
it's still pending. No, it's still pending.
They're still pending. They're still pending. What's the challenge? What's the challenge?
95 Act, 1995 Act.
That's a. They are pending. 30 years later, they are pending.
Where the Waqf by user has been challenged in those proceedings.
And 30 years later, they are pending.
I have no difficulty. Now it's becoming structural because I didn't want to hesitant.
There are still challenges there which will survive you.
Now there are three options before us. First is we decide this challenge. Second is we delegate it to a one common.
Second should come with a protection.
One minute. Just 1 minute. That's okay. A and part B of second.
Can I say?
Part three is we call those petitions also over here and decide this.
Decided here.
Can I suggest?
Question in view of this amendment act, which is very sweeping.
Probably many of them have come in front. No. I have a point.
It is not becoming.
But the issue is when the constitutional validity is being done. Depending upon our answer, they cannot be.
Can I, my lord? Can I say? I have only a minute. Lord, your lordships may file a reply. Kindly take it up and finally dispose it. I have nothing. Therefore, I'm. Lord, I didn't want to support that position. I'm resisting sustaining amendment before your law.
I support the I support him. Within itself,
There are several judgments, etc.
Another solution.
within itself,
I am appearing in a petition where the old act is under challenge, which we have filed here. So your lordship will hear.
within itself, my expressions, religious practice.
There's a whole pending challenge.
Yes.
Everything should be here.
Item number.
Within itself,
99.
There is a fresh petition filed. 95 Act with amendment.
Because the reason is that 95 has not been taken away for the past in respect of certain matters. So both sides of the picture are before the court. Your lordship hear the whole matter. It is a matter of moment. It is a matter of moment. Lordship may hear the matter finally and decide one way or the other. So there's no need for calling the High Court petitions.
my puppets. Rajiv Shankar, petitioner side. Bring in for that. I was Jim for the Supreme Court. Save it. Choose it out.
Where the maximum number of matters are pending. 140 matters. 140 matters.
Nothing will happen there. Nothing will happen
And
there.
there is no other. There is no other matters pending in the any other argument.
Look, there
Last
can
year,
NGAC matters, your lordship transferred all of them to this court. That's right. NGAC matters, your lordship transferred to this court.
into the bar of 32.
Okay.
Most opposite,
Okay, we call them- okay, we
as your
call
lordship
them
just rises.
Well, he wants
Four pernicious provisions, three bracket R, three capital C, capital 9 and 14.
Pass an order.
9 and 14. 9 and 14.
On different order we are passing. Order we are passing. Interim order we are passing. Interim order we are passing. Will balance of the.
We heard on it.
One minute. The interim order which we are passing is on. Let me put it. Is on two. One. Whatever properties have been declared to be
registered.
No.
Look, how would I declare? I declare.
1 minute, Mr. Don't put words in my mouth. Hear my words first. Hear my words first.
Declared by court.
1 minute. Whichever properties have been declared by the court or held to be Waqf, 1 minute please, will not be notified as Waqf and will not be treated as non-work properties. Whether they are by Waqf by declaration, or otherwise. No, declared by court or otherwise also established to be. Number two, just one minute, listen before. We have consulted each other. We have thought about something. We are not saying that this so we can always modify. The collector can continue with the proceedings. The advisor will not be given effect. And if he wants, he can move an application before the court. Number two, as far as constitution of the council and the board is concerned, ex-officio members can be appointed regardless of the. We have not even 1 minute. We'll hear you. We can hear you tomorrow. I thought it balances out completely on.
As far as boards are concerned, tenure is yet.
1 minute, please. As far as the board and the council, as far as ex-officio members is concerned, there is no difficulty regardless of the faith, they can be appointed. But the other members of the Muslims.
Allow me to answer. Yes, lordships have decided. I have nothing.
No. That's why we are asking.
Boards are concerned. Their tenure is yet to expire and
Why we worried then?
Because of the order. Without with judgment. In case of Tilkayat judgment.
New boards are
Then we'll come before your lordship. We do not even
before you appoint the boards, then you come before us.
Kindly a minute.
We cannot have. We are asking them. We are asking
the difficulty. All ours litigants, there is not a single board before your lordship. I am going to be affected or removed or something.
Tushar Mehta, you are saying all boards are already in place.
Yes.
They have terms which will come to an end after a particular time.
Yes.
Okay, we can record your statement that before you take up an
No, your lordship may say. Your lordship may say. Lordship may say. Lordship may say. Because I have judgments to show. The lordships are aware. Five-judge or seven-judgment judgment. Tamil Nadu. Only a minute. Allow me to show. Please examine.
Section 14 itself.
Elected member. Tamil Nadu government in the case of Pujari. That is Pujari. This honorable court says. Pujari is a secular function. Government can appoint Pujari.
Secular function.
I am on secular functions. It's an administration of property.
Very novel. Yeah.
It's an administration of property issue.
Done away with elections from the Muslim community.
Works by non.
The CEO has to be Muslim.
Lordship, tomorrow.
I can hear you for 5-10 minutes. No. As experts, it's always you are not entitled to be heard as well as you are only entitled to be heard.
This is a matter which is from the ordinary litigation. Matter.
Therefore, we have spent so much time.
It's also a matter of we are all concerned about it. It's fine.
We would like to address your on the interview. Lordships have recently in the election commission down the normal statute directly or indirectly.
We are aware of that. All of us know those judgments. We are also concerned. Normally there are two apply. First one is normally when the legislation is passed to not this executive order that they exercise, but they accept it. There's especially which we feel in these cases, in case there is already a work by user, if it is notified or anything, it will have its huge consequences. Once we'll expedite the hearing. Maybe it takes 6 months, maybe it takes 7 months, but that's fine. But number two, as far as the members of the council and the board is concerned, you're also saying they have tenure, but council is already in existence, have a tenure. If they have a tenure,
Alternatively, my statement on proviso be recorded. Alternatively, my statement on proviso be recorded. That also may not can be one of the balancing. That also may not can be one of the balancing. It's the balancing act.
You are appearing for the central will be. You are appearing for the central concern. They have as far as the boards are concerned.
I'm interpreting a central law. I'm interpreting a central law.
Can we hear you for half an hour and then finish it off today?
I'll be extremely grateful if the Lordship hears us.
Kindly have it.
I'll be extremely grateful if the Lordship hears us.
Kindly have it.
Questions will not.
No.
One batsman is made.
Go on like that, Mullah.
We have something to assess your lordship. We have something to assess your lordship.
What else is there?
Kindly allow us.
What else is there?
Kindly allow us.
I thought we had I thought we had built a
It cannot. No. It cannot.
Okay. My user is there from 1940s. My user is there from 1940s. Okay, I'm just taking a tentative order.
Lord, your lordship may have it. Lord, your lordship may have it.
This will continue. Your lordship, this will continue like that.
It is not a matter. It's a matter of. It is not a matter. It's a matter of.
I thought we had. I thought we were concerned. I thought the others were also you were concerned. I thought the others were also much fewer.
I would not.
You'll be much fewer and virtually what that's They would just.
We have something. We have grateful if we have something. We have grateful if
This will just continue in this fashion. This will just continue in this fashion. The essential points are before your lordship. Otherwise, you don't have to answer.
We have really heard.
Mr. Rajit Kumar is there, Mr.
I know.
Mr. Rajit Kumar is there, Mr.
I know.
So we are not balanced.
We are not on number game.
So we are not balanced.
We are not on number game.
But we have to contribute.
Okay, come to about 2 o'clock. Only 3 councils. Only 3 councils.
Kindly limit it to half an hour. Kindly limit it to half an hour. Kindly limit it to half an hour. Then go on. Kindly limit it to half an hour. Then go on.
Half an hour and 10 minutes to us for rejoinder. Half an hour and 10 minutes to us for rejoinder. Half an hour and 10 minutes.
Mr. Sipal can't fix the time limit. Mr. Sipal can't fix the time limit.
I'm saying 10 minutes only.
It's our time limit.
Yes, yes, Varun, we are saying, Your Lordship.
It's our time limit.
Yes, yes, Varun, we are saying, Your Lordship.
It's our time
And I
limit.
hope
Let him know.
one thing was very disturbing.
And I
The
hope
violence which is
one
taking
thing was
place.
very
Yes.
Disturbing. The violence which is taking
I
place.
agree.
Once
Yes.
the matter is before court.
Yes, nothing should
Once
happen.
the matter is before court.
Yes, nothing should happen. That's-
This
That's why it's important that your lordship to put it quiet. That's why it's important that your lordship to put it quiet. Absolutely.
By violating, pressurize
I
the
don't know who's
system.
pressurizing.
By violating,
Wonder who's pressurizing who.
Unacceptable.
Wonder who's
Unacceptable.
pressurizing.
Unacceptable.
Let's also put it.
Must stop.
Both of us, let's also put it. Both of us, we just discussed this. Please highlight those.
No, we would have.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I have yet.
Highlight
No, we would have. I'm
Yes, yes,
highlight. I have yet. I only responded to highlight.
Half an hour tomorrow.
I only responded
We went back to
to
highlight.
Half an hour tomorrow.
the positive.
We went back to highlight.
Obliged, obliged. Obliged, obliged.
Within itself, Murad, my essential religious practice and my essential must be reasonable and proportionate. So that must be reasonable and proportionate. So that's under which we'll have to examine the provisions of under which we'll have to examine the provisions of this act. Kindly come to kindly come to section R. 3R of the Bare Act of the Unified Waqf Management Empowerment. Of the Unified Waqf We have printed Bare Acts, Brothers. Can we just hand them over to you? We have printed Bare Acts, Brothers. Can we just hand them over to your lordship? I have, we'll just have the Bare Acts first. We'll just have the
For JPC.
That's right. Just for
And Parliament on JPC.
That's right. Just for
And Parliament also. How kindly see, my lord, on page 40, my lord, which is, how kindly see, my lord, on page 40, my lord, which is now deleted.
I have it, you know. But I may see everything with the amendment, Your Lordship. But I may see everything with the amendment, Your Lordship. Yes, Mr. Sibel.
Let us kindly look at
Yes, Mr.
3R.
Sibel.
Let us kindly look at 3R. Definition of Waqf. Waqf means, your lordship has that? Waqf means, your lordship has means the permanent
Yes.
dedication. Waqf means the permanent dedication. Showing or demonstrating any permanent dedication. Showing or demonstrating any permanent showing or demonstrating or permanent dedication. Showing or demonstrating dedication. Showing or demonstrating dedication. Showing or demonstrating dedication. Showing or set up a Waqf for creator. So, therefore, if I want to set up a Waqf for creator, that I have been practicing Islam for 5 years. That I have been practicing Islam to the state for 5 years. To the state. It's my property. Why would I have to do that? Why would I? It's my property. Why would I have to do that? Why would I have to do that? If I'm born a Muslim, why would I have to do that? Be a judge of whether how good a Muslim I am. Why should the state be a judge of whether how good a Muslim law will apply to me? My personal law will apply to me. Per se, according to me, so, per se, according to me, what is that contrivance? And then, what is that contrivance involved in the?
Given that we have a time constraint.
Check, sound check.
All right.
Check, sound check, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right. This is
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Admission stage hearing. Down the time because it's admission stage. I request everybody not to repeat whatever has. I request everybody not to repeat.
correct, but now I'll tell your lordship what sections I'm challenging. Correct, but now I'll tell your lordship what sections I'm challenging. I'm challenging my within itself religious practice and within essential religious practice. My essential religious practice and my essential religious practice and proportionate. So that must be reasonable and proportionate. So that's under which we'll have to examine the provisions of under which we'll have to examine the provisions of this act. Kindly come to straight away, kindly come to section R. 3R of the Bare Act of the Unified Waqf Management Act of the Unified Waqf We have printed Bare Acts, brothers. Can we just hand them over to you? We have printed Bare Acts, brothers. Can we just hand them over to your lordship? We'll just have the Bare Acts first. We'll just have the Bare Acts first. That's right. Just for convenience. But allow me to give the That's right. Just for convenience. But allow me to give the Bare Acts.
This is the act with the amendment.
Yes.
Sir, I have it. You know, I have it. With the amendment. With the amendment. Yes, Mr. Sabra.
Let us kindly look at 3R. Let us kindly look at definition of Waqf. Definition of Waqf. Waqf means, your lordship has that? Waqf means, your lordship has that? Waqf means the permanent dedication. The permanent dedication by any person, showing or demonstrating. Does your lordship don't have the Bare Act?
Yes,
Does your lordship don't have the Bare Act? So
Yes,
3R. Waqf means the permanent dedication by any permanent dedication showing or demonstrating. Practicing Islam for the last 5 years. Islam for the last 5 years. Of any movable or immovable property having ownership of such property, and that there is no contrivance involved in the dedication of such property, or any purpose recognized by the Muslim law by the Muslim religious as pious, religious, and includes such and such and such and includes such and such. So, therefore, if I want to set up a Waqf, I'll have to show that I have been practicing Islam. That I have been practicing Islam for 5 years. To the state. Why would I? It's my property. Why would I have to do that? It's my property. Why would I have to do that? A Muslim, why would I have to do that? A Muslim, why would I have to do that? Why should the state be a judge of whether how? Why should the state be a judge of whether how good a Muslim I am? My personal law will apply to me. My personal law will apply to me. So, per se, according to me. And then, what is that contrivance involved in that contrivance involved in the?
Given that we have a time constraint.
Check sound check. Check sound
All right.
check. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Admission stage hearing. I request everybody not to repeat. Whatever has.
Correct. But now I'll tell your lordship what sections I'm challenging. I'm challenging this 3R. Then I'm challenging this proviso. Proviso to 3, provided that the existing Waqf by user properties registered on or before the commencement of the Waqf Amendment Act will remain as Waqf properties, except that the property wholly or in part is a government dispute or is a government property.
Which proviso?
This is the proviso. Waqf means after Waqf means.
Page 6 of the compilation.
Whether they have, as your lordship knows, whether they have as your lordship knows, deleted Waqf by user. For the past, they have maintained. For the past, they have. For the future, they have. For the future, they have. That who are you? That's another challenge. To say that I cannot create a Waqf. To say that I cannot create a Waqf my practice. That is my essential faith and practice. That's the second challenge. So, that's the second challenge. And this, every encroacher, will have to be. It will be decided who will decide that mechanism. The dispute mechanism. Now kindly come to 3 section. First 3A. First 3A. 3 capital A, subsection 3 capital A, subsection 2. And tell your lordships what the challenge is. And tell your lordships what the challenge is. Creation of a Waqf. Shall result in denial of inheritance. in denial of inheritance rights of heirs, denial of inheritance rights of heirs, including women or any other rights of the Waqf or any other rights of persons with lawful claims. Who is the state to decide that? Under what lawful claim are you talking about? Under what lawful claim are you talking about? Who is the state to tell us as to how the inheritance is going to happen? In my religion.
Even under the Hindu Succession Act, under the State Succession Act, the state has a law.
In Islam, that's not the case. In Islam, that's not the case. That's interference with 26. That's interference with 26.
Parliament cannot enact any law. Parliament cannot enact any law. Parliament has enacted law with regard not be invested to the same extent. Not be invested to the same extent as enacted laws. It has enacted laws.
No, I'm not on that. Because of 26, I'm sorry. Because of 26, I'm sorry. I'm on a narrow issue of 26. Narrow issue of 26.
Parliament as a case major. Parliament as a case
Subject to public, subject to morality, public health, and subject to morality, public health, and public order. This is nothing to do with that.
Never, but when 26 universe 26 is universe in the sense, because secular in the sense, because
yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Hindu Succession Act, New Guardianship Act, New Guardianship Act, so many acts have been.
All right, I'll just move on, but I just tell you what is why the challenge. But I just tell you what is why the challenge. Why the challenge applies after. Inheritance in Islam applies after. They are interfering before that. They are interfering before that. That's the point. But that's the point only, Malas. But that's the point only. Flagging the point, Malas. So I'm just flagging the point. That's point number 2 time. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, Malas. Point number 3, Malas. Kindly see. 3C. In Malas, page 9 of the book that I've given. Page 9 of the book that I've given to your lordship. Any government property identified or declared as before or after the commencement of this act shall not be deemed to be a Waqf property. Any property, government property identified or declared. So, if they identify or declare it shall not be Waqf property. Then, that's 2. Then, I think the whole section is ultra vires. I think the whole section is ultra vires. If any question arises, whether any such 3C, 3 capital C, 3 capital C, 1. First 3C1. It's much better to look at that. It's much better to look at that. Page 9 of this book, Malat. Page 9 of this book, Malat. VC1, may I read, Malat? VC1, may I read? It says any government property identified as Waqf property or declared as Waqf after the commencement of this act shall not be deemed to be Waqf property. They can make a declaration says this is not Waqf property. If any question arises, if any question arises, such property is a government property, whether any such property is a government property, may by notification, the state government may by notification designate an officer above the rank of collector, referred to as the designated officer, who shall conduct an inquiry as per law, and determine whether such property is a government property or not, and submit his report to the state government. Provided that such property shall not be treated as Waqf property, till the designated officer submits his report. And there's no time limit there. Quite apart from that, what is that process? Quite apart from that, what is that process? Where the government officer will decide in a dispute between the government and the government property. That this is government property. You therefore have identified an officer who is part of the government. Who will be a judge in his own cause. Who will be a judge in his own cause. He is an officer of the government. And he gives a declaration. Identifies and gives a declaration. This is again per se unconstitutional. Provided that such property shall not be treated as Waqf property, till the designated officer submits the report.
So the property is on lease. Where is the right? I'm sorry, I didn't want your lordships to hear this.
So, that's the third challenge. That's the third challenge. Challenge 4, perhaps even more serious. Declaration of protected monument or protected area as Waqf to be void. Any declaration or notification under this Act, or under any previous Act, in respect of Waqf properties, if such property